Hello and welcome to Learn, Do, Become Radio. My name is Alia. I'm April and Eric's daughter, and I'm also one of the team members here at Learn, Do, Become. And today I'm taking you on a behind-the-scenes tour of how I process the emails, text messages, and all the other stuff that comes my way each day, and how I put it exactly where it needs to go using my STEP Command Central. And STEP stands for Steps to Everyday Productivity and is our signature program here at Learn, Do, Become. Now, I asked our community if they had any requests for a few bonus podcasts that I'm recording, and this is one of them. And they said, I need help processing. I want to know, what do I do with all of the stuff that I've accumulated? And that is a very good question, because we have a lot of different resources all about how to stop drowning in piles, how to eliminate the piles from your life for good. But what does that actually look like in practice? So I'm going to link a few of extra resources on our show notes page that can be found at learndobecome.com/episode 252. And I'll link to a few resources on our site where you can learn more about the specific individual parts of the Command Central, because I won't be diving deep into each of those pieces in this podcast. I'm just explaining how I process the items right into my STEP Command Central. But we encourage you to check out these resources to build your own. And if you'd like some extra support and accountability and some extra guidance from Team Learn, Do, Become on building your own Command Central and learning exactly how to do the same thing that I'm doing in this audio, we have some really exciting news and an amazing opportunity for setting up your Command Central happening next week from the time I'm recording this. On August 28th, a Wednesday of 2024, we are starting something called Step Momentum, and this is a 4-week accountability group where we'll help you build your Command Central and give you bite-sized assignments. Every couple days we're going to send emails, or you can opt in for text to do that and get awesome messages and encouragements from our team, as well as special accountability posts that you can comment on, and you can see what other people who are building their Command Centrals are doing as well. And it's just something so exciting that we're starting for our very first time. So if you're thinking, I want to build a Command Central, this is the time. I'm so excited. All the details can be found at learndobecome.com/momentum. So this is our STEP Momentum accountability group, and we have all the details there. And I just want to read something that my mom, April, wrote on this information page for STEP Momentum, because I think it really connects back to what we're talking about today in this podcast. She says, you most likely have a ton of stuff coming into your life every day. Receipts, papers, messages, phone calls, new ideas, goals, and physical things. And most of that stuff goes into what we lovingly call our piles, which is totally normal. But when you build an optimal, fully functional STEP Command Central, the piles simply go away. And starting August 28th, there's an amazing new accountability program called STEP Momentum that will help you get the same results. And I love that, because it's true. A lot of stuff just comes into our life, and if I didn't have this system in place, the buildup of said things, messages and emails and papers, stuff like that, would become so overwhelming and really just make me freeze in place and not want to process anything. But I'm so incredibly grateful for my STEP Command Central and all that it's helped me do. All right, and now to the podcast where I do the processing. All right, it is about 7 in the evening, and I'm going to be walking you through my different texts, emails, capture tool, and other notifications that I receive through the day, and how I process them into my step system using the pieces of my Command Central. This is something I like to do at the end of every day, because it just helps me to have a better focus, more clear mind, since during the day I'm taking care of our 1-year-old son. So it's a little bit harder to get good processing time in, but it's not impossible. I probably could do it earlier, but it is nice to just have a quiet moment each evening. So that's what I love about STEP, is you can customize this to meet your needs, to figure out when the best time is to process things. And this isn't the processing from beginning to end. This is figuring out what are the next actions, or what are the future projects associated with all these different things that I'm receiving each day. and then that helps me get them out of my inbox and then just feel really good and feel really light for the next day. All right, we're going to start with texts. I like to have this little process where I preview each of my texts before I open them to see if they're urgent, and then if not, they just sit in my text inbox until I'm ready to answer them. So on the iPhone, I can hold down on the message. It'll let me read it really quick, but not mark it as read. And then I can determine whether or not I need to respond right away or if it's okay to wait a little bit. So the first message is from a friend. She was just chatting, doing a little update about what she and her son have been up to. So that's a 2 minutes or less kind of thing where I can just quickly respond to her. If I was in a pinch and wanted to reply a little quicker, I could just record an audio message. But for this one, I think I can just do a quick text message and just say, oh, that sounds so fun. Here's what we've been up to today, and then press send. So that one's pretty easy. This next one is a text that I received from my mom and sister, and they recorded a new video for us to use as an ad on Facebook. Now, I need to do a couple details in relation to this video ad. I opened up Asana. It's my project management and task tool that I love to use. I use the free version, so does our team at Learn to Become, but it's ASANA, in case you're wondering. And I'm going to open up Asana, and under my work tasks for this evening, I'm adding a new one that says extract the text or what my mom is saying in the video and turn it into the written version. Because once I have that, then I can just post it on Facebook really quick and send it to our person who does our ads. So it actually should be a really quick thing, but the only part that takes more time is basically doing a transcript of what she says. So I have this text as unread. I'm going to look at the text. I will save the video to my phone and then send that video to my computer. And then I just put in my task list for my Learn, Do, Become tasks that I need to transcribe the video, and then I indicate where that video is. It's on my computer desktop, and that helps me know exactly what I'm working on and when. And then I can also write inside that task, create next actions to post the video on Facebook and send it to the person who's going to run it as an ad. So those could be 2 separate next actions if I didn't have the time, but because I have a pretty good routine for doing this, I think it makes sense to just do it all in one, and it could probably take me 10 minutes or less, I would think. All right, the next message I received is from my aunt. She sent me a little update and just was checking in and saying hi. So I could just open that in 2 minutes or less, respond to her and thank her for her message and wish her a great evening. Hope that she has a good day. So those are all the only 3 texts that I have not answered throughout the day. The other things that came in were pretty quick things to just open and mark as read, or they didn't really need a response. We got a couple texts from our apartment complex just giving us a quick update, so I just skimmed it, marked it as read, done. I had a friend say that it worked for me to stop by at 2:30. That was already in my calendar. So I have a few texts that I read each day, and I'm not stressed about those. But there are a few that I save for the end of the day, just so I can actually send a nice, thoughtful message back, or I can extract the tasks for those. So those are all the text messages that I have right now. But now we'll go to my emails. Now throughout the day, I like to just check my inbox really quick to make sure nothing urgent is coming in. And I also delete anything that is trash. I unsubscribe from anything that might be sending me newsletters or promotions or stuff like that. I try to do that as the emails come in. Maybe I check my email 3 to 5 times a day, just very briefly. But then at the end of the day, that's when I really take the tasks out and process the emails into my step system. So the first email is, I sent a couple emails to myself. I will say I treat my inbox as my capture tool as well for when I'm out and about. I sometimes just send myself a quick email so that I can put things into my step system. And that's because my email inbox is at 0 or very close to 0 every single day. If your email inbox has several thousand emails and it feels like an overwhelming place, I wouldn't recommend putting a lot of important things that you need to extract and then have an action with in your email inbox. I would recommend having a separate paper or digital capture tool where you write down all those different things that you need to put into your step system. But if your inbox is feeling like a good place for that, you might be able to kind of combine those in a way that works best for you. So the first thing I did was I had a thought while I was driving our car today that I forgot to add our car yearly registration into our yearly budget. We just redid our budget a couple weeks ago, and I realized, oh wait, I forgot to add that, and that's probably an important thing to be saving up for. We just registered our cars last month, so we still have 11 months to go, but I wanted to make sure that is on our budget list because we put money aside each month to pay for our future expenses. So I'm going to add that as a little task on Sunday on my calendar because my husband and I do a calendaring and budgeting quick session together, maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes max, where we just check in, see how things are going each week to just stay on top of our things. So I'm putting a little reminder on my calendar that says, make sure we add our budget, the registration to our budget. All right, the next thing is an Etsy notification. I helped to order a new sign for the background of my mom's YouTube channel videos from a person who makes custom signs on Etsy, and it just shipped today. So all I'm going to do is forward that email notification to my mom really quick, and then I would say, hey, it just shipped. It's coming from a few states away, so check back with me at the end of the week if you don't receive it, but I'll get a notification when it gets delivered and let you know. So I can just forward that to her and then file that away into my Learn, Do, Become folder. All right, the next thing is an email that my dad shared with me today. We had our Arise class on finances and how to have an extraordinary retirement. So he sent me the spreadsheet that he used on the call that we're going to be sharing with all the community members, and it's added to the members area. So quick little plug for Arise if you want to check that out, learndobecome.com/Arise. And I have the template here, and all I need to do is put that into our members area and make sure I save a copy to our Learn, Do, Become Google Drive account just so we have a backup. This is something I'm going to be working on in my work time this evening. I am a night person. I like to do my work in the evening so I can hang out with our son and just relax during the day, and then I work more in the evening so that it's quiet and I can focus. So that's already on my list, is to get all of the resources compiled from our call today, the recording, the chat, all that stuff. So this spreadsheet is just a support material for that. I'll just leave it here in my inbox until I finish working on the Arise work that I have tonight. All right, the next thing I have here is I made a pickup order at a store, and the product that I ordered was out of stock, so they canceled my order. And they need to refund me because they charged the card and then it got canceled. So I sent myself a quick email saying add a calendar reminder to make sure I got the refund. And I quickly just looked at my app tonight and they already reversed the charge. So I actually don't even need to do anything with that. But let's see, it was 7 hours ago when I sent myself that email. That was something that I thought I would need to check in on later in the week, but thankfully it was already resolved by the evening, so I can just delete that, and that's kind of nice. But if it had not been refunded, I could have just put a reminder on my calendar for a few days from now to say, check in on the refund if I got it. The next email, this is one of the ones that is not fun to get, and I think you can probably relate with this, getting a couple emails that is just an annoying email that, this one says about important pricing changes for our health insurance, about it basically going up in January 1st. So I saw that email and it was in the middle of me working on something else, and it totally distracted me, and I started to go down a rabbit hole clicking the link and figuring out what was going to change and how much it was going to change by. And I decided, I'm not going to get stressed about this right now. Prices change, we can budget for it. It's super annoying, but that's just what happens. So I have that email sitting in my inbox and I was just not excited to open it. But I decided that I'm going to do a quick skim of this email that they sent me. Really, I have no action I need to take right this second. Nothing changes until January 1st, and nothing's changing right this second. So it doesn't make sense for me to get really stressed about this right now. Obviously, if I needed to look for a different insurance company, I could make that a next in line or a future project, or I could make it a current project if it really was pressing. But because this doesn't take effect for a few more months, and I don't think it's going to be a super huge impact for our budget, it is, a little bit more, but it's not super expensive. I think I'm going to put this in my Tickler file email folder, which holds papers. We have a physical one that holds papers or a digital one that holds emails. And these are things that you're going to review in the future on a certain date. So you have on your calendar that you need to bring a certain paper to an event, and that paper is safely stored in your Tickler file, and you have a little note on your calendar saying, don't forget to grab the paper from your Tickler file. The same thing applies with the emails. So I'm going to put this in my Tickler file, and then my husband and I, usually on the first Sunday of the month, we have a more extensive planning session. Our week-to-week planning is very much, okay, where are you going to be on this day? How are things looking? Do we need any project time together? Okay, we're good. Awesome. Budget looks good. All right, let's go. And that's pretty much how it is every week. It's kind of nice that it's quick. It's painless. It's really nice. But usually on the first Sunday of the month, when we're just getting everything refreshed, making sure we're on the same page, we have our projects lined up, we have things ready to go, I would probably add this budget conversation about health insurance going up to our September. I'm recording this in August, in the middle of August. So I'd probably say in the beginning of September, our bigger planning session to talk about this. So I'm going to add on my calendar for that Sunday to discuss our price change for insurance. And I'm going to make a little note that this email is in my Tickler file, and then I'm going to move it into my folder and be done with it. And that really helps me know that it's an item that we need to discuss, and then later in September, we can decide, is this a project to tackle this in any way, to either change the level of the insurance we're at, or to get a different one, or to just not worry about it and just budget a little bit better for it. That's a conversation we're going to have later. Right now is not the time for me to be stressed, and that really helps me to just know it's all going to be okay. We have it sorted out, and I can just go from there. So hopefully that helps, just seeing how I process something that's kind of stressful or that has more details involved. If it were something more pressing, I would make this one of my support materials for a current project for the month. But seeing as how it's not going to happen right away, I'm just not going to worry about it right this second. All right, the next email is another email I sent to myself. We have $3 left on a gift card to a store, and the gift card does not work in the actual store because it's a digital gift card and it can't scan. It's just a whole mess. So I have a digital gift card with $3 on it that obviously it's a small amount of money, but I don't want to waste it. So I'm going to be putting on my grocery list. We have a shared Apple Note. It's just our Apple Notes app that came with the phone. My husband and I have a shared shopping list, and it's segmented by the 4 or the 5 stores that we go to regularly, because we found there's some stores that have items cheaper and that have better bulk pricing, stuff like that. So we have a little grocery list segmented by 5 stores, and I'm just going to put next to this one store that we have the gift card, I'll say next time we do a digital order, then use the gift card. There's $3 on it. And that way when I do make a digital order, I usually do that once a month for grocery pickup. That way I can just use the gift card and save $3. That'll be nice. All right. I have 3 emails left here in the personal one, and then maybe I'll go into my Slack messages, which is our messaging system that we use for our Learn to Become work. And then I will quickly touch on what's in my work emails and how I handle those. Okay, the next email in my personal inbox is a message from a friend. She writes me a weekly email every Sunday. We were in an organization called Best Buddies together. She was my buddy, so we stay in touch, and it's been really fun. And every Sunday, she writes me an update, and then during the week, I write her one back. So this is usually a 2-part thing for me. I will sometimes leave this email in my inbox because I will usually send her pictures one day and then send her a message typed out or a voice message later in the week. So I will probably 2 minutes or less pick 3 or 4 pictures that I want to send her from the week. Then I will send her the pictures, and then on my next actions list for my week, under the computer section, I will probably just write a message back to this friend, and then that way it'll help me make sure it gets done in the week. And sometimes I have a busy week where I know if I wait until the weekend, it'll just get too busy. So sometimes I'll make this a calendar reminder or a calendar task where I say that I need to write her back, and it's usually just a paragraph. So I probably could do this in 2 minutes or less, but tonight I have some work stuff I need to get to, so I can't spend a lot of time on my 2 minutes or less tasks. They kind of have to be on a next actions list for a different day. All right, the next one I have is an email that my mom sent regarding some different ad strategies and different ways to let people know about Learn, Do, Become. This is an email that I skimmed just to see if I had any action items. I do have one that I need to probably respond to in this email. So during my work time tonight, I will just make sure to review this email and make sure I respond correctly and that I can make sure my part's done, and we're just waiting for a response from the person who helps with our ads. And then the last email, this always happens. I usually get one email that's been sitting in my inbox for a long time because sometimes I just get a little tired at the end of the day, and when I have something that takes a lot of energy, if it's not urgent and it doesn't need to happen, like obviously right now, I just let it sit. I have something that probably should be moved to my waiting folder. Basically, my mom sent me an email and asked if I could look into helping us get something set up for our Arise membership to better release the content for all of our new members, because we just want to see if there was some different options with the current platform we use. But I emailed them and they said no, it's not possible to do it the way we were thinking of doing it. So now I'm kind of stuck in the middle where I want to make it happen, but we don't currently have the technology or the easy ability to do it like that. So I think I probably just need to respond to my mom and say, hey, this isn't an option with what we currently have. Do you want me to look into additional options or additional ideas, or should we just put this on the shelf right now? That's probably what I need to do, and that would get the email out of my inbox because I've done as much as I can. But I think part of me wants so badly to find a solution to this that I don't want to throw in the towel quite yet. But at the same time, it's not productive for me to just sit here and hope that something's going to change with the technology that we have. So I think I just need to be realistic with myself, and it's not like I'm letting anyone down. I tried my best and it's not affecting anything negatively. It's just simply a feature that I can't do right now, and that's okay. So anyways, that's probably the one thing that is just sitting in my inbox. It's been there for over a week, and that's the one thing I think I just look at every day. And then I think it's just taking me actually talking it through to myself out loud while I'm recording this podcast. So thanks for working through that with me. All right, those are all the emails in my personal inbox. Now I have Slack messages from my team. And again, this is just how we text with our team. So I got one from Jill, and I just checked in with her on something, and she said, yep, we're good to go. So I don't have to do anything with that. Looks great. I got a message from Taryn asking me to check on a payment question. That's probably a 2 minutes or less thing. So when I am doing my work time, I can just open it up and check the payment and send her a yes or no based on my answer. And then my mom sent me a couple messages that are multi-step. And usually what I do is I will read her message and then mark it as unread, so that way I can go back to it and extract the task at the end of the day. Maybe I should ask her if she'll email me these things next time, because that would be a little easier. So that could be a 2 minute or less thing where I send a quick email and say, hey, for any messages you send me that are multi-step, maybe you could email them to me instead of message. That might help to clean up my message inbox a little bit. But essentially, she was just wondering if I could help record a few podcasts, which I am doing right now. So that's kind of fun. So this is more just to help me create this as one of my Learn to Become projects. It's kind of a mini project, but I do need to think of a couple more podcast topics that I'm excited about. So whenever you're listening to this, you'll either be seeing podcasts that I just recorded before this, or there's a few coming after. So I did do a poll in our Facebook group, our free community Facebook group, asking what people wanted to hear. So that was my quick 2 minutes or less task after she sent me that invitation to do a few podcasts. But now I need to actually turn it into one of my projects for at least from now until the end of, I have about a week. So it's a week-long project. I can make it pretty small. It's not going to be too rigorous, but I do need to give myself some next actions and a good plan. And then she sent me a different voice message that had a task inside of it. And she was wondering if I could create an email to send out to all of our new Arise members, asking them to share why they joined Arise, what they're looking for specifically, just so we can do an even better job of tailoring the membership to meet their needs. So that is something that I will need to add to my work task list, and it should be pretty straightforward from there. And it's not really a project, it's more of I usually give myself different small tasks and things to work on a day when I don't have a ton. So right now it looks like Thursday. Right now is Tuesday. Thursday is pretty open for me right now, and I can just add that question from her and that task into Asana, set a due date for Thursday, and then I will work on it on that day. All right, those are the work messages I got, and now let's see if I got any Facebook messages or Instagram. This is usually where I like to just look at all my inboxes at the end of the day. I've spent about 20 minutes talking about this with you guys, so thanks for tuning in. And usually it would take me about the same amount of time to just put things right into my system. I'm not doing it right now as I'm talking because that would slow me down from talking to you and probably wouldn't be as fun of a podcast to listen to. But I hope this is giving you some good ideas, just showing how I personally walk through the different things that are coming into my life, and then how you can do the same thing. Maybe you want to adapt it a little bit differently. Maybe you want to look at your messages every other day because that's not your thing. You don't love to respond to messages. Or maybe you have to process your emails a few times a day because you get a lot of things coming in that are all semi-urgent or related to projects. So we're all going to have different circumstances, but at the end of the day, the principles are all the same, no matter what we're working on. So I have no messages on Instagram. Sometimes my siblings send things that they think are fun or funny in our little group chat. Then I look at my Facebook messages, and we have little group chats with our family members and all of our siblings. So I sent them some cute pictures from the day, and they all just liked the message, so I can mark those notifications as read. And then I got some great suggestions from the Learn to Become community about what podcast they wanted to hear from. So I'm just going to let that go, mark that as read, because I have, like I mentioned, I have a mini project that's going to take about a week. I have about a week to do it, to record a few podcasts and get some fun things up for you guys. So that's what I have going on here. All right, I think that is about it. I will say the last thing I do at this wrap up, I've checked all my messages. Now I'm going to do a little bit of work time, and the majority of things in my work email are 2 minutes or less tasks. I have somebody who asked a question about Arise, whether or not they had stopped their subscription, so I can just answer that really quick. I have a link from my mom with the document that we used during today's Arise call, so I just need to put that directly into the members area, and then I can move it into my Arise folder and be done with it. Somebody had a payment issue, so I need to go fix that really quick. It just takes a couple seconds. And then I have somebody who wanted to share their Step for Students program with a friend because they got an extra one to send to a friend. So all the work emails that I have tonight are pretty easy, pretty manageable. I'll just spend a few minutes on those. And then the final thing I do after I've checked all the different inboxes, so I went through, let's do a little recap. I went through text messages, personal email, work email, Slack, which is messaging our Learn to Become team, and then Facebook and Instagram messages. So I think I pretty much covered all the bases there. I think we're good to go. And then the last thing, I'm just going to check my calendar and make sure I'm ready for tomorrow. I have a couple date-specific tasks that are on my calendar for today. The first is to make sure I have all the ingredients to make dinner for a friend. Our friend just had a baby, so we're making her dinner for tomorrow. I do have all the ingredients. I'm good to go, so I can just mark that as complete. And then I also have another notification to check something in our bank app, so I can just log in really quick, 2 minutes or less, and check that off. And then the final thing is I look at the day tomorrow. So I look at the next day and then make sure I don't have anything I need to prepare for tonight. It doesn't look like I do, but I do have something on my calendar for tomorrow where I want to do toddler time. They have a little rec center near our house, and for $2, the toddlers can run around and play with the soccer balls and play with a bunch of toys for 2 hours, which is a really great deal, and our son loves it. And I'm going to text 2 friends to see if they want to join us for tomorrow. It's at 9 a.m., so maybe it's late notice for one of them, but maybe not. So I'm just going to send a quick text, maybe in a group chat since they know each other, and say, hey, we're doing toddler time tomorrow. Do you want to join us? And then we can see if they do. And then I just look at my calendar events. I have time blocked out to make the dinner. We're just doing a nice crock pot soup for the friends that had a baby. That way we can have dinner too and share the other half of it with them. And then I have a task on my calendar to text a different friend who had a baby and see if she needed us to come over and just help with any household stuff. And then if she does, I have time blocked out in the afternoon for that. And then I have time blocked out in the evening to deliver dinner to the other family. So it'll be a nice busy day. It'll help us get out of the house, and then we'll just, find time for nap time and work time in the middle of all of that. So that's how I plan my day. That's how I approach my processing, and it really helps me feel really good for the next day ahead because I don't have any lingering things stressing me out like that insurance email that I was bothered about. I just feel so at peace knowing I'm okay. Everything has a place in my system. A lot of these emails are no longer visible to me, but they're not out of sight, out of mind. They're totally processed, they're put away, they're in a safe place, and I feel really confident in how my system supports me and my ability to live my purpose, live the way that I'm helping my family. I'm helping these 2 friends tomorrow. I'm able to find time to rest so that I can work in the evenings, so that I can have this flexible time with my husband. And I'm not saying our life is perfect by any means. We definitely have our ups and downs as well. But having all these details out of my mind and out of my inboxes is truly life-changing. And I'm just so grateful to have the knowledge of this step system in my life. And I hope that this is inspiring to you in whatever way, whether you've had a step system set up for a long time and you're just keeping on, using it, doing great, or if you're thinking, I don't have a system right now and all these details of my life are really overwhelming and not super fun right now. So no matter where you're at, there's a place for you here at Learn to Become, and we're just so grateful to have you in the community and so grateful that you're here listening to the podcast. All right, thanks so much for joining me as I processed all the things that came into my life during the day. I mean, I spent almost half an hour just talking you through each item that came into my life. And granted, I do get a lot more digital things coming into my life than physical things, but the same principles apply for mail, paperwork, documents, things that people are handing you through the day. The same thing would apply, but mine just happened to be mostly digital and mostly with technology. And in practice, I didn't spend 30 minutes processing all of those items. It was more lengthy as I was describing what I would do and walking you through that process. But really, I was able to process everything in about 10 to 15 minutes when I got off of the recording and I stopped that. And I felt really good, really calm. I was able to get everything managed that I could before the next day started. I went to bed with an inbox that was empty. I had all my text messages answered. I had all my calendar items created and ready to go for the next day. And I just felt really calm. And I was able to go to bed without any extra messages or tasks or ideas swirling around my head. And that's just something that I'm so grateful for, because I did receive a message when I was asking for podcast topics to record on. And someone said, I want you to go through a pile or all the stuff that's built up in your house and walk us through how you process it. Just take a pile off a bookshelf and show me what you do. And as much as I would love to do that, I don't have piles around my house. I don't have a buildup of emails. I don't have a million things that I need to check off of a to-do list because I'm using my Step Command Central. And I don't ever want to say that in a bragging way or in a, hey, look at me, look what I'm doing. But I'm truly want to share that this is life-changing. I have really been taught these principles ever since I was a child. My parents, they taught us how they used Step in their lives, and I really loved it. I latched on, and I've done it ever since. And it's made my adult life so much easier and so much less stressful. And I just wanted to share that with you, showing that it's totally possible to start with a very simple, basic setup and use these same practices of looking at your calendar every day, having a little time for processing things quickly into the places they go. We don't have to do all of the actions that are associated with all of the emails and messages and stuff like that right now. We just need to know that each of those components are safely in our system, whether that be our projects list or our next actions list, our calendar, and so on. So again, we have all the related links on the website at learndobecome.com/episode 252. And then we also have our Step Momentum Accountability Group starting on August 28th, 2024. And it's going to be so amazing, so fun. You can find all the details for that at learndobecome.com/momentum. So if now is the right time for you to join Step Momentum, we would love to have you there with us. And for those who it might not be the right time right now, we have some amazing resources on our site, and we highly recommend checking out our free training if you haven't already. It's called How to Finally Stop Drowning in Piles, and you can find all the details there at learndobecome.com/step. So have an amazing day, and thank you so much for joining us on Learn, Do, Become Radio.